Today we're here to address the Azle study. Our study of the Irving earthquake sequence is ongoing, and I'm not willing to speculate on what the outcome of that ongoing study will be. I will say that we're very much aware that the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area as a whole has questions about their infrastructure at this time, and these are concerns we share and are looking into. So figure 1 in our published study is shown behind us here, and so this gets at both your groundwater question and also what is being referred to as the reservoir. So you can see that lake level change, freshwater aquifer, your drinking water, is quite close to the surface. What we're talking about in our study and what we're modeling is fluids within this much deeper unit. And in this area, that's called the Ellenberger limestone. And what we're looking at is fluids being injected into that same rock unit. And then in this specific area out in Azle, there is some evidence that some of the production wells near the fault are also pulling water out of that same reservoir. So you have both a source and a sink, and the modeling results presented in the paper look holistically at fluid pressure changes throughout that reservoir, especially near the faults, or the fault associated with these earthquakes, due to both wastewater injection but also brine extraction at the production wells.
I think Craig is consistent with saying things that are consistent actually what we think. That is, there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty still in these models. So we are drawing these conclusions with limited data but very valuable data. And with the data available, we would argue that, and we've used a wide array of parameters. We're not trying to load the deck here. We're trying to use what we have available to make our best estimate of what the pressures are like in the subsurface. And after doing that and having this work go through several rounds of peer review, these are our conclusions. Looking at the data that we've compiled, I would feel like what we're suggesting from a scientific perspective, to give you a best way of describing it, is you look at all the factors, and in the end, if you don't have a clear answer, an obvious answer, you have to look in a way, taking what I call an Occam's razor approach, what makes the most logical sense. If you look at the pressure changes in time and space, the highest pressure changes are occurring at the location where the earthquakes are occurring. They occur around the right times within a few years. They're occurring with pressure values that are consistent with values that can cause earthquakes. So can we say with 100% certainty these are caused by oil and gas activities? No. But if you look at the breadth of data available, we would argue that the most obvious cause, the most likely cause, is oil and gas activity.
What are the chances of a catastrophic earthquake occurring? I would say that the faults that we've looked at so far are not long enough. We're far from a plate boundary, okay? So what happens is earthquake magnitude scales with fault length. The faults that have caused or been associated with small magnitude earthquakes to date in North Texas don't have those fault lengths for a truly catastrophic event, okay? That does not mean that these faults, or ones we know of and ones we haven't seen become active yet, don't have the potential to cause an earthquake on the order of, say, a 4 or a 5 or something that could cause damage in an area like North Texas, which has not been built to the same seismic safety and engineering standards as someplace like California.